The tea leaves were wrong. They lay in the filter basket as a near-perfect circle, pressed flat beneath the appliance lid. Martin Vale made tea by hand, loose leaves, a chipped cobalt cup, more patience than most people give a kettle. 26 July 2052, 23:41, Case 118. At that minute, 6 new pages appeared under Vale's name. His last reliable physiological activity had ended 24 minutes earlier. The file was called Closing Chapter. It was the ending to Lucía Anzorena's unfinished novel, The Salt Rooms. Vale was 63. He had spent decades translating writers who distrusted easy endings. The first account of his death was almost too accommodating. A translator, alone at his desk, apparently finishes the chapter holding up a major publication, then dies after taking a sedative. Clean accounts make me careful. The leaves made me careful first. Vale sat in his study chair beneath a warm proofing lamp, facing a vertical monitor. Parallel text proofs covered the desk. Anzorena's Spanish lay on the left, Vale's English on the right. His pencil marks were spare. A comma moved, one line struck through twice, a question mark beside a phrase that had resisted a settled English equivalent. On the monitor were 6 polished pages. They sounded like Vale, or close enough that the difference had consequences. The prose was restrained. Its final paragraph stopped short of full resolution, which reviewers had praised in Vale's translations for years. Before dawn, Lark and Bell had received a delivery notice. An old sleeve from Vale's prescribed sleep medication sat in plain view on the desk. The first municipal review listed probable self-administration of a sedative. The new manuscript made a convenient final act out of it. But Vale's home dispenser had recorded no dose that night. His forearm cuff showed no reliable pulse pattern after 23:17. At 23:41, his legacy model generated Closing Chapter. The cuff did not give us an exact time of death. It recorded only what it was designed to record. Still, it gave us a boundary. Something had already gone wrong before the pages appeared. At first, the digital staff found my interest in a filter basket mildly irritating. 6 pages from a dead translator could fill an afternoon of cultural coverage across the city. A tea appliance looked trivial beside that. A staged room often depends on something trivial. Vale had been working under authorization from Anzorena's estate. He had translated every completed section of the Salt Rooms, along with variants, notes, and 2 unfinished scene fragments. Anzorena had died before she wrote a final chapter in Spanish. There was no ending for Vale to translate. Lark and Bell's English language option expired on 31 July, 5 days after Vale's death. Earlier that month, Renata Olmos, liaison for Anzorena's estate, warned the publisher that the estate would accept Vale's completed translation and his editorial notes. It would not authorize a generated conclusion as Anzorena's ending, Vale's ending, or recovered intention. Lark and Bell had a disputed continuity clause in Vale's contract. Its lawyers believed a completed delivery before the deadline might preserve the option while the estate dispute continued. Olmos disagreed. Possession of a file, she maintained, did not confer authority to publish it. The distinction was sound. A translation contains a translator's original choices. The underlying novel remains subject to the source author's rights. A workstation on someone's desk does not become ownership because its owner has died. Vale had complicated the matter years earlier. He had authorized a local legacy model trained on his bilingual archive. It held draft histories, style sheets, selected correspondence, revision notes, and recordings made for students. It could produce continuity alternatives in the pressure of his working habits. It could produce a voice. It could not give permission. Under the Local Creative Estate Act, training, operation after death, editing, and publication required separate permissions. Vale had accepted the training arrangement because he wanted students to examine his methods. His estate would later have to decide whether the model should ever run again. For us, the question was narrower. Who asked it to write 6 pages at 2341? The Municipal Digital Evidence Unit preserved 4 systems before anyone reopened the disputed file in its original environment. Vale's workstation, the legacy model vault, the apartment router, and Larkin Bell's terminal record. They copied the material, sealed the live systems, and compared the records outside them. The output manifest was valid. That mattered more than a style analysis would have. The 6 pages were genuine output from Vale's authorized model build. The manifest recorded the bilingual corpus version, prompt package, time source, authenticated account, connected terminal, and publication status. The status read, unreviewed. The model had generated text from Vale's archive at 2341. Its signed records supported that conclusion. It did not establish that Vale had requested the output. It did not establish that he had read it. It did not establish that he had approved it, or that anyone had authority to present it as his final chapter. A signed provenance record can preserve where a file came from and how it was made. Consent is a different fact. The room had hidden that difference beneath a good imitation. The manifest named the prompt package Editorial Continuity Brief. It named the account Larkin Bell Continuity Editorial. It named the hardware a publisher loaner terminal connected through Vale's continuity port. Vale's own drafting workspace had been inactive throughout the night. No typing, no dictated notes, no annotation request, no review marks. The system was accurate. The conclusion people drew from it was not. Someone had seen a file from Martin Vale's model and treated that system event as Martin Vale's decision. The continuity account belonged to Naomi Price. Price was 46 and ran continuity editorial at Larkin Bell. She had worked with Vale during the original training agreement. Her credential was valid. It had been issued while Vale was alive for controlled archive testing and continuity output verification. When we spoke with her, Price acknowledged that she had visited Vale. She said he had asked her to test alternatives from the model. She said they had discussed the deadline. She said she left after he became distressed. Her account access, she told us, had been authorized. That part was true. A valid credential records access. It does not grant every use a person can make of it. The building system placed Price at Vale's apartment block at 2251. Her credential opened the outer door. Her phone associated with Vale's router. The loaner terminal's local activity trail matched her authenticated work profile. She remained in the building until shortly after midnight. Those records did not show her hand on a cup. They did not tell us what was said in Vale's study. They placed her there with the terminal during the period that mattered. Then we found Vale's own prepared message. In his drafts folder, untouched since 2303, was a message for Renata Olmos. He had not sent it. Its subject referred to the estate's deadline notice. Vale wrote that he intended to submit only the translation he had completed, along with notes on the unfinished material. He objected to any generated continuation presented as his work. He recorded that Naomi Price had come that evening to discuss the deadline. Olmos received a separate scheduled copy the following morning. Vale had set it to release if he failed to confirm delivery by midnight. Before forwarding it to us, Olmos checked its signatures and revision history with Vale's archive trustee. That message did not reveal every thought Vale had that night. It did establish a refusal he had prepared while Price was in his apartment. And Price had seen enough of his position to know what she was overriding. Then we returned to the tea. Vale's appliance history showed that he rarely used its automatic brewing cycle after 2100. He disliked its built-in cup. In a voice note, made after he misplaced a translation draft, he complained that the handle was too narrow. People who live alone leave records like that. They expect to forget the ordinary parts of their routine. Vale's late notes often began while water heated for a hand-brewed cup. He complained about stale oolong. He spent 40 seconds deciding whether a chipped cup should be retired. The cup was cobalt blue. Near its base, beneath the glaze, was a pale flaw. When staff entered the apartment, an automatic cup sat on the tea tray beside the filter basket. It was warm and untouched. The appliance service log showed a presentation cycle at 23:48, 7 minutes after the model output, 31 minutes after Vale's last reliable physiological activity. The leaves were so neat because the appliance had arranged them. A hand had not. That did not establish murder. It established that the visible tea routine had been built after the generated pages. The medical findings needed the same restraint. Vale's cuff transmitted its last stable pulse pattern at 23:17. Chair telemetry remained connected after that, yet it recorded no later movement consistent with his usual work. The cuff could not tell us the precise minute he died. Toxicology could not do that either. Drug levels after death are affected by time, physiology, sampling, and chemical movement in the body. One laboratory result does not narrate a whole night. Vale's samples supported severe exposure to a sedative. The home dispenser showed no record of providing it. That absence meant only that the logged dispenser had not dispensed a dose. It did not rule out an outside source. The cuff, chair telemetry, toxicology, and physical traces later found in the apartment placed Vale's incapacitation before 23:41, before the chapter, before the automatic tea cycle. The medication sleeve on the desk began to look arranged rather than explanatory. We found Vale's cobalt cup in the dishwasher. It had been washed. The dishwasher recorded a short rinse cycle beginning at 23:32. Vale's household records showed that he used the machine for plates and storage jars, usually in the morning. He did not put one cup through a late-night rinse while he was working. There was no reason for Vale to do it. There was a reason for someone else. The cup was almost clean. The flaw beneath the glaze had protected a thin residue from the rinse. Testing found the same sedative compound there that appeared in Vale's toxicology. Beside the cup, that result supported a route. It did not stand alone. The sink trap supplied another fragment. Inside was torn foil backing from a dissolvable sedative film. A batch trace led to a private executive clinic. The clinic had issued that formulation to Naomi Price 6 weeks earlier. She had not reported it lost, and no recorded transfer explained its absence. A search of Price's apartment later found the empty outer carton folded into a recycling sleeve. The deleted continuity brief supplied purpose. Digital staff recovered it from the publisher terminal's local cache. Price had asked Vale's model for a 6-page closing passage built from the translator's style sheets, final annotations, and project notes. The brief requested a conclusion complete enough for editorial review. Her work messages showed the pressure around her. Lark & Bell's translation program had lost 2 foreign rights deals that year. The Anzorena edition was meant to anchor the next quarter's list. A missed deadline threatened money, staff time, and an option her department had spent years securing. The same messages showed how Price justified herself. She treated a model trained on Vale's archive as carrying a form of permission. Vale's prepared refusal did not leave room for that belief to govern his final work. She had it in writing before the cobalt cup went into the dishwasher. Price did not confess in her first interview. She continued to say Vale had wanted alternatives. She said the sedative might have been his. She said she ran the appliance because he had asked for tea, then changed his mind. Each explanation had a surface. The records beneath them would not join. Her terminal activity began after Vale's final reliable pulse pattern. The manifest named her editorial brief. The appliance ran after the output. Vale's cup retained sedative residue. The foil backing traced to her clinic supply. His prepared message named her visit and rejected the use she made of his model. No single device solved Martin Vale's death. The cuff recorded activity. The chair recorded stillness. The model recorded generation. The manifest recorded context. The dishwasher recorded a rinse. The cup held a trace. The sink kept what the drain had failed to carry away. This is the reconstruction we submitted. At 22:51, Naomi Price entered Vale's building with her valid publisher credential. Building access records place her there. At 23:03, Vale saved his message to Renata Olmos. He recorded Price's visit, stated that he would submit only his completed translation and notes, and rejected a generated continuation. The signed draft and scheduled copy preserve that position. Between 23:03 and 23:17, Vale drank tea from his cobalt cup. We cannot assign a precise second to his death. His cuff recorded its final stable pulse pattern at 23:17. Chair telemetry showed no later activity consistent with work. Toxicology supported sedative exposure. The cup residue and foil backing supported delivery through the tea. At 23:32, the dishwasher began a short rinse cycle. Its log records the cleanup of the cobalt cup. At 23:41, Price connected the Lark & Bell loaner terminal through Vale's continuity port. Using her authorized editorial account, she submitted the continuity brief recovered from the local cache. Vale's legacy model generated 6 pages. It used the archive it had been trained on. It followed the editorial request. It signed its manifest. It marked the output unreviewed. The model did not lie. At 23:48, Price ran the tea appliance's presentation cycle. It pressed the leaves into their neat circle and left a warm, untouched cup in the study. That appliance created the appearance of a man still working over a difficult chapter. Shortly after midnight, Price left the building. The welfare alert came later. Staff entered an apartment containing a dead translator, an old medication sleeve, fresh tea, and 6 pages that sounded enough like him to invite a false ending. Price was taken into custody after the medical, device, access, and scene records were reviewed together. Lark & Bell's claim delivery was frozen before it could be treated as Vale's final work. Renata Olmos received the pages Vale had actually marked and completed, along with his notes on the unfinished ending. The 6 generated pages remain under seal. They are authentic output from Martin Vale's model. They cannot honestly be called Martin Vale's chapter. His model remains preserved as well. Whether anyone should operate it again is for the estate process, not for me. The cobalt cup is sealed beside the preserved output record. Its pale flaw beneath the glaze still holds the residue from that night. Price washed the cup. She could not change the order of the leaves.